Hello, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever I'm catching you. This is Aaron Moore with DocVerify. And today, what we're going to be doing is performing a RON transaction within our system. Part of this will go through and talk about the RON side of the transaction as well as what differentiates that between a RON transaction and an E-Notary transaction. And so the first thing that you guys will see as you're looking at this video is that when I do log into the system, after I've signed in, it'll immediately come to the contract management portal within the system. And from here, you'll be able to get an idea of the credits that you've used for the month, the credits that you have remaining, and the documents that you've already created for this particular month. You also see what is out to be signed, what is waiting to be signed, and what is already signed and notarized within the account. Now, in order to create an e-notary or a RON transaction within the system, you can do one of two things. You can go ahead and you can click add new notary transaction, or you can also scroll up here and on the add new tab, go ahead and click into e-signature or e-notary. And today what we're going to be doing is an e-notary transaction. What I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and I will click add new notary transaction and walk you through the process. And so when the page does open up, the initial page will be the same for both RON and for e-notary. It's entirely the same process up until we get to a certain point, which I will discuss. Now, the first part of it is you will be able to see, once again, what you have as far as credits, identification credits. We'll talk about the distinction for identification credits within the system and what they do, and then your document credits. And so the first thing is, do we want to select a template? If there's a template in the system that you want to use, you can go ahead and use that template. These templates serve the purpose of making it easier to affix the signing location, notary location, or just if you want to standardize some type of document in the system that you do a lot of. And so the first thing, let's go ahead and select a file from our PC. You may not see any of this on the screen, but I will select a file. You can select multiple files and attach them to here. If you select a single document can be anywhere from 1 page all the way up to 1,000 pages. There's really no limit as to the amount of pages. It can be 1 signature or 100 signatures. That does not matter. Only matters is the size limit. It cannot exceed 8 gigabytes as far as the size limit. And so that is a limitation. Now, if you do have multiple documents that you're adding into the system, you can add those documents underneath that one that you can see right here. And then you can also turn this into a packet of documents. The difference between a single document in the system and a packet of documents is that a packet of documents would be something that you would want to use if you were doing something like a closing, or if you had multiple different affidavits that you had to have signed, or multiple different deeds that you had to sign. You'd want to do that in a packet. And it does cost a different amount for packets versus documents themselves. A packet itself will charge the account 4 credits. A packet of documents will charge the account 7. And so those are some of the distinctions right there of that. Now, I've already attached this document here, so I'm going to scroll down. We'll start to talk about the required journal information that does have to be put in. The first thing we're going to put in is what type of document is this. And today this is just going to be a simple agreement. So I will type in agreement here. And then from down here, if we continue to scroll down, you'll pick the type of notarial act it is. Is this an acknowledgement? Is this a jurat? Is this a signature witnessing? What are we doing? And so we'll do an acknowledgement today. We obviously want to pick the county in which this is happening. And so this is going to happen for me today in Cook County. And then I'm going to look for the date here. You're going to want to make sure that this is the correct date. You're also going to want to put any type of fees that you are charging for your services here. Corporate type of notaries, they probably are not going to put anything in this section, but a person that is a notary that is using this service as an outside notary service may want to put in the fees into here. You also want to go ahead and select how many participants are in this particular notarial act session. Is it 0? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? How many is it? We're going to leave this on 1 participant. From here, this is what the distinction between as I scroll down, the distinction between what is an e-notary session and a remote notary session kind of starts to happen. And the first thing is, we're just going to ask you, is this a remote notary session? If it's no, if this is going to be a in-person digital notarization session that you're going to do with people that are in that location with you, or you have some access to, then this is just going to stay as no. If this is going to be a remote notary session, you obviously are going to go ahead and click this. When that does happen, it'll allow you to go through some pre-qualifications for the signers on the other end, such as their pre-qualification for their ID, pre-qualification for their device. Those types of things will happen for you and for the signer as well. As I go down here and I continue to scroll down, it's going to ask us for participant information. Namely, you're going to want to make sure that you put in an email address, because the email address is where we're going to send the link that the participant or the signer is going to get. A key thing to remember is that for signers, if there's multiple signers within this session, each signer does have to have their own individual email address that the email is going to, and they have to be on their own individual device. They cannot share the same device while they are doing this. We are tracking things via geolocation and IP address just to make sure that this session is secure and it is legal. And so they have to be on their own email addresses and their own devices. They cannot share the device or the email address. And so I'll go through and I'll select my email address here. And then here's another important question. And the question comes up, do you personally know this person? Because this is going to start the distinction of whether or not you need ID verification or not. If it's no, then the system is automatically going to make the signer or the participants on the other end go through verification of their ID and their credentials. If it's yes, then, and you personally know this person, or they're a corporate officer and you work with them, you've done business with them in the past, you have some documentation on this person, and you can click yes. But if you say no, it's going to make them go through the ID verification process. And so today, I'm actually going to do yes. I'm going to say I know this person. I will have follow-up videos that I can share to show what the verification process looks like for the signer on the other end, so you can see that. But this video today is just going to be, yes, I do know this person. And so from right here, it's going to start to ask us some information about the participant. What is their email address? Where is it going? What's their name, their address, and that identification type you have. So today we're just going to say the name is John Doe, no middle name. We're going to put in here what type of identification we have on John, and then so we have a license for John. And then his address is 1234 Main Street, and that's in Chicago, Illinois. I'm going to go ahead and do a little uppercase on here. And then his zip code. So you're going to want to make sure you have all this information in here. Same thing. If there's any other optional information you need to have about the role, is this person a witness? Are they the principal? This is where you would be selecting that from here. There's also important here to understand the distinction between a witness and a witness that doesn't have e-sign. So if the witness does not have to sign any documentation, they may not have to go through verification process. If their person is a witness and they are going to be signing something, then they're definitely going to have to go through verification process as well. Once we scroll down here, if there is any other optional information you'd like to include to identify this person, such as an ID, a client ID, or a description, or some type of other name that they go by, or whatever it would be, you can also put that optional information within this as well. From here, you're going to go ahead and click yes, you're ready to verify that all of the information is correct. And from here, it will generate the documentation. So you're going to click yes, I understand. And then you go ahead and submit. Now, I am not going to actually click this button here because I've already created one on the other end, and we'll go to that. But if I was to click it, it would immediately take us back to the contract management page. And so I'm just going to go ahead and take us back to the contract management page. Once we're in the contract management page, your document will be right at the top, usually if you've just created it, but you'll also see all of the other documents that you've created as well. As you can see, I've created this document today, and it is a remote notarial act, and it has one signer. And so what will we do? We'll go ahead and click this Notarize Now button. Once we've clicked Notarize Now, the types of disclosures for the Notarial Act, as well as any state requirements, are going to pop up for you. Also, the system in the background is going to be detecting my devices, so my camera, my microphone, just to make sure that I have everything that is necessary to do the session. Now, on the other end, they are going to receive an email. So the email from the system is going to go directly to that email address that you had put in for the participant, and they're going to get instructions on what they have to do. And in essence, and you're not going to see this on the screen, but I am going to go through the process, is they're going to click a link. When they click the link and click the button in that link, it'll pop up a version of the system that is similar to this that will check for their camera, it'll check for their features, and those types of things. And so on the other end, you are not actually going to go ahead and see this, but I'm going to start that process here just to make sure that we speed this up a little bit. And so as we're doing this and as I'm getting that set up on the other side on another computer, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down so you can see some of the other things that you can do. So you can send notifications to the other person on the other end. You can also, at this point in time, go through and set up your signature elements before. We're going to actually do this in the session and do that, but it's the same process. You can set up where people are going to sign documentation, what they are going to do when they do that. And so what I will do on the other side that you're not seeing right now is go ahead and enter some of the information to get us all set up. And as I'm doing that, it will show right now, since I have actually completed the process on the other end, that we're ready to start the remote session. As you can see, instantaneously, once I've completed my my instructions as a signer on the other end, the system will generate the link for you to be able to start your remote session, and everybody will be ready to go. And so when I start the remote session here, it will ask me for, it'll ask me to allow the camera settings. So your browser, whether it be Safari or whether it be Firefox or whether it be Chrome, it will ask you to enable the camera and the microphone settings. Now, what browsers do we support? We support, and you'll actually see me on camera right now, but what browsers do we support? We support Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. Internet Explorer is not a browser that we support currently, and if you're using something on like a Linux platform or something like that, we're not going to support that as well. It does have to be Chrome, Firefox, or Safari. It has to be up to date. As far as system requirements, the person on the other end has to have a strong internet connection. They also, at the same time, have to make sure they have a webcam or a laptop or a large tablet with a camera and a microphone enabled on it. Other things to remember in this time of the different things that are going on in the world, specifically with COVID, we have a lot of people that are actually sitting at home and using a lot of bandwidth for the internet. So if you have kids or somebody else that is actually using Netflix or something else in the background that's taking up bandwidth, that can actually affect this. So you're going to want to make sure you have a strong internet connection. And the same thing, you're going to want to communicate that to the signers on the other end, that they're going to want to have a strong internet connection. So have people pause different things that they're doing in the background for that, and just to make sure everyone has a good internet connection. And so on the other end, you're going to actually see me on another camera. And so I'm actually in the session right now. Through our video sessions, you can actually hear the person on the other end. You can see them. This is in real time, as you can see on this video. From this point, the system will tell you about the next steps that you have to go through. And so we'll go through those next steps. At this point, before we start going through the recording session, it would be a good idea for you to have some type of scripted response as a notary, telling the participants on the other end what to expect. And so I would say something to the manner of, hey, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Participant, for joining for the notary session. What we're going to do today is we're going to go through and we're going to sign these types of documents. Make sure that your camera is enabled and the volume's up so that you can hear me so we can record everything for the session. Also, we will be putting the different areas that you're going to be signing for the different documents on the screen for you. Please go ahead and affix your e-signature to those areas as it prompts you on the other side. And so that would be something I would say to the people on the other end, just to make sure that they understand exactly what we are doing today. And so from here, you actually begin your recording when you do press this button. And so I'll start the recording. And as you can see at the top, it tells you that you're recording, but it also asks you to start having the participants do different things. For example, may want you to have everyone look into the camera and have their faces readily available. I do have a hat on today, so maybe you want them to take their hat off, or you want them to do something else just to look into the camera. Make sure they say their first names, show their IDs to the camera. That is something that will help you out as well, having them show their IDs so that everybody knows who's here. And then ask each one of the participants what they want to notarize today. What are we here for? So it is actually recorded and is in the journal, is in the video evidence that they know what they're here to do today. And so we'll go through, we'll toggle and answer all these questions, and then we're going to begin the notarization. Now, on their end, I haven't affixed any of the signature elements. Once again, you can actually do this getting into the session. You can affix the signature elements and do the pre-work, which will speed up the session. I did today want to show this to you in the video so you can see what it looks like. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to affix a signature location. This is actually the signature location for the participant. So this is their signature that they're going to have to put on this. I also will just put a name, right? We'll put the name at the top here as well. We're also going to go through and do the notary signature and put that where that's going to sign. So I, as a notary, am going to do that as well. And then I could put my notary stamp as well. So I'll scroll down here. And this system is as easy as drag and drop. There are other features in the system where you can use a form field. The form field is an area where you can type in some information on the document that maybe you want to highlight for someone, or you can put a checkbox. There are other things you can do, as you can see, name and email address. So this is something you can do. Now, on the other end, on the other side, the person is going to see these different signature locations pop up in real time if they already weren't there. But you, as a notary, are going to want to make sure that you pay attention to the screen. I'm going to be on another computer going ahead and signing these different locations. And so what I'll do is I'm going to go through and sign the pages where I need to sign. I can view them, and then I will sign it. Now, in real time, what you'll see is you can see that the signature location turned from a yellow to a green. And that just tells you as a notary that the signature was adopted into those locations onto those pages, and you can actually see that. And so that's the same thing, right? We want to make sure that everything is in real time and you know what happened. At this point, you know that you can kind of continue on with the process. Now, from here, you go through, just check in each page and make sure that it's all signed in the manner that you want to. If you come down here, it's going to show all of the other required participant information. It'll show if they're personally known to you. If that's checked, it'll show if their signature was adopted, if the signatures were clicked. If this person had to go through ID verification, the ID verification will actually show up here on this side. And it would actually show you if they passed, if they failed, if they've gone through that. But in essence, they wouldn't be even actually able to start the signing process if they hadn't gone through this, right? So this is going to show that to you here. It's also going to show their ID, any information that was uploaded here, if that is asked for. And so as you come down here, you also see the areas where you as a notary are going to have to fill out. And so you'll go through, if you'd like to send different types of messages to other individuals here, just telling people to hold on, that we're going to be back, or we have to do something for the second, you could do that too, just to send quick messages to everyone. From here, you're going to go through and you're going to put your notary signature as well. So I'm going to type in my name here. So it'd be John Doe. I'll go through and put my initials here. And then here's a really critical question. Did you witness the signatures? So there are obviously instances where your clients are going to be sending you things that they've already signed and you're just going to be notarizing it, but you do need to do a session for that. And if that's the case, you can tell us, did you actually view the signatures? If it's yes, then it's yes. Because today I actually did view the signature, so I would say yes, I did. If it's no, then it's no. You also have the option to enter an additional email address where you want this information to be sent over to be CC'd. So you can put in an additional email address, and then you would go through and you would put in your password. Now this is the password for you to sign into your account. And so I'm going to go through and affix my password here. And then this would be the point where you would tell the participant on the other end, hey, thank you for coming today. It looks like we have everything. It's all signed and we're ready to go. It's okay for you to drop off of the call because I am going to go through and I'm going to sign everything at this point in time. And just to let you know, once you have completed this process as a notary, you can no longer go back and make any changes to this. This session is tied up. You would have to start an entirely new session in order to make changes to what you're doing here. So it is very crucial that you're ready and you're prepared to close out the session at this point in time. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close out the session. It will prompt you and let you know exactly what you're doing and make sure that this is something you want to do, or you can cancel it. So yes, I am done. Once we've done this, the video does end for this. So it will end. You won't be actually able to see that person anymore. They won't be able to see you. Documentation will immediately be emailed out to the individual on the other end. So there is a copy, the informational and the journal entries and all of the transaction will be stored into our system. And then as you can see, it puts me right back to the contract management page. From here, I can actually see the documentation itself. I can go through if I'd like to. This is the document that we signed. And so I could go through and download it if I want to. I could go through and I could view the document if I'd like to. And so I could pop that up. If I wanted to see the e-signature certificate, so if I wanted to see what was placed on there, my digital certificate seal, my notary seal, all of that information, I could see that as well. I could go through and I could email it to another person, and then obviously I could see if there was a watermark or something else that was provided on there. The documents themselves are very secure and they're stored within our system. All documents are stored for the state mandated guideline time. So for that particular notarial act in that particular state, if it's 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is, it will be stored in our system. It is accessible to you. You can come through, you can download the session, you can download the documents and have access to it when you need to. And we actually do encourage our customers to go through and go and download this information and put it onto an external system or hard drive, so it's easier for audit purposes if they need to get at it. But it is still going to be here for you. But today, that is all that I have for the video. I wanted to make sure that we go through the RON session. Once again, my name is Aaron Moore. I'm part of the DocVerify team. If you need to reach out to us, you can reach out to us at www.docverify.com and just go through and look for the email sales. You can, if you email sales, one of us that's in the office or part of the team will pick it up and try to answer your questions. I appreciate your time today, and I appreciate you spending the last 20 minutes with me, and I look forward to seeing you use the DocVerify platform. Hope you're having a great day.